So in math, if we have a postulate, and you'll see a lot more of these, are things that we can use to prove stuff. So when we get into proofs, you'll see this segment addition postulate again, but postulate is used for proofs. Try it again. Postulate is for proofs. We're going to use it as we're taking it as a fact, and so we're going to use that fact to help us solve some problems. The first one we have is the ruler postulate. This is crazy, guys. Every point on a line can be paired with a real number. This makes a one-to-one correspondence between the points and the numbers. The real number that corresponds to a point is called the coordinate of the point. So the number that goes with the spot is the coordinate. If you're trying to find the distance on a ruler, now usually you'd start at 0, but the problems that you're going to see today might not start at 0. And so if that's the case, what you have to do is, if we have B and A here, you have to take the bigger number, B, and subtract A, and take the absolute value of that. So the distance, or the length, will be the absolute value of B minus A. Please write that down. There's a problem on your homework that talks about this exact thing. If you've got 3 points on a line, the part plus the part equals the whole. So AB plus BC is AC. Part plus part equals whole. This is not groundbreaking stuff. The locations shown lie in a straight line. Find the distance from the starting point to the destination. Someone please raise your hand. What should I do? Garen, what do I do?
You add 64 and 87 together to get 151.
Yep. Part plus part is a whole. Equals would be SD. When I put SD like this, it's saying what the length of SD, that segment from S to D. Okay, if we add these up, 87, 64, 11, right? Carry the 1, so 151. Please label it. It's 151 miles, right? Is SD. The cities shown on the map lie approximately in a straight line. Find the distance from Tulsa, Oklahoma to St. Louis, Missouri. So from Tulsa to St. Louis. How am I going to do that? Raise your hand. Joseph? Yep. And that should be equal to from Tulsa to St. Louis, so TS, the segment TS. Go ahead and subtract that. You should need a calculator because you could write it out. You could do this old-fashioned way if you want. So 1, 13, 6, sub be 6, 361. So the distance would be 361 miles. Obviously, it'd be quicker with a calculator. So if AC, so the entire segment from A to C, is 18, find AB and BC. Let's write a statement first. So we know that AB plus BC is equal to AC. So instead of writing AB, we'll put 2x minus 6. Keaton, what do I replace BC with?
3x plus 4.
And I should put 18 for AC. Now we're going to combine like terms. So simplify. Make sure you take the sign. And negative 6 and positive 4 are like terms. You cannot combine with 18 because it's on the other side. So we get, what is that, 5x minus 2? And solve that equation. We want to undo our addition and subtraction first, so add 2. and divide by 5 because that's multiplication. So x is equal to 4. Are you done?
No.
No. It said to find AB and BC. So now you have to take 4 and substitute it into those expressions to get what the actual lengths are going to be. So if I know x is equal to 4, so we're going to write, let's see, this is going to be AB. AB is 2x minus 6. Instead of writing x, I'm going to put a 4. 2 times 4 minus 6, which would be 8 minus 6, which would be 2. So AB is equal to 2. Do the same thing for BC. So this is BC. BC is 3x plus 4. Substitute 4 for x. What do y'all get?
16.
Yes. So BC is equal to 16 because you do the multiplication, 3 times 4, and then add 4. Yeah, Garen?
In this equation, will you be able to solve one and subtract the actual mixture
Yep.
of 18?
Yeah. So what he's saying is, since we found that AB is 2, you don't really have to plug in for BC because you can just subtract from 18 and know it's going to be 16. Good. So we can check our work. 16 plus 2 is 18. You did it correctly. Okay, last big thing to talk about. And I see students mess this up all the time, so please listen. In this class, well, have we heard the word congruent before?
Yeah.
Okay, hopefully. You should have learned about it in 8th grade. If not, then that's okay. Congruence says that if two things have the same length, then the segments or the angles are congruent, the actual figures themselves. Whereas equal says that the length of this thing is equal to the length of this thing. So equal is talking about like the numbers. The numbers are the same. Whereas congruent says that the lengths are equal, therefore the segments are congruent. So if you're talking about the actual shapes, then you have to say they are congruent. You cannot say this segment is equal to that segment. You're not allowed to say that in math. You have to say that segment AB is congruent to segment CD. This example says plot those points, lucky you. It's already done for you. Then determine whether JK, segment JK, and segment LM are congruent. Let's find the lengths of those. How can we figure out the lengths? Oh, let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since it's a horizontal line, you just got to count. And then do the same thing for the vertical segment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Are these segments equal or congruent? The segments are congruent. The lengths are equal. So I can say that, we're going to write like a little statement here. So I can say that JK is equal to 5. Do you see how I didn't put the segment sign over it? I did not draw a line over JK. This means the measure of JK. So the length of JK. If I put a segment line over it, then I'm saying segment JK is equal to 5, and I'm not allowed to say that. So JK is equal to 5, and LM, the measure of LM is equal to 5, the length of it. Therefore, that's what these 3 dots mean. If you forget, there's a sign on the back of the room that'll tell you. Therefore, segment JK, I put that symbol, then I'm saying segment, is congruent. Congruent is with a squiggle and an equal. Is congruent to, is it LM? Yeah. You can only use those symbols above the letters if you're using a congruent sign.